Let's ask the man that is rocking some serious firepower in New York City in the form of his arms. Blaine Fowler back on the show. All right, Blaine, let's go with it right off the top.
You tweeted something out last night that showed the guns,
yeah.
man. Was that on purpose?
Well,
that left bicep's looking muscly.
You know what? I didn't even, until people started tweeting back at me that I should stop wearing children's shirts. I didn't even notice. I just noticed the beautiful woman I was with, and so I wanted people to know that for Sports Nation, that the New York City Bureau was up and running back here. I'm the New York City Bureau for Sports Nation.
Are you on steroids?
No. Are you kidding me?
Just want to check. Just got to. Hey, after we got burned with McGuire sausage, just got to check.
Yeah, no. I haven't been on steroids in years. What do I say?
From the New York Bureau of BYU Sports Nation, Blaine Fowler joining the show.
He was in Florida the last time we talked about it.
Yeah. World traveler. Okay, Blaine, Twitter question today. With the tougher future schedules, starting with 2015, what should the BYU football season win total expectation be now?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because it almost has to be a year-by-year expectation depending on the schedule. Jeremy, you just said that the 16 schedule makes you more nervous than the 15 schedule. I agree with you. When I look at the 16 schedule, I only see – you're talking about the same 3 wins that I'm going, okay, well, they've got to have those 3 solid wins. And we're talking – in 2015, I actually feel more comfortable with that schedule with Taysom Hill as a senior than I do the 2016 schedule. And
it's tougher, and you have an inexperienced quarterback in theory, 2016.
Yeah, exactly. So in 2015, I look at the 2015 win total, and I know that the benchmark for everyone out there is double-digit wins. That's what everyone wants. It doesn't matter what program you are, and I think at BYU, that's what we're accustomed to. It's considered a successful season if you get to 10 wins. Well, with that schedule in 2015, if they get to 10 wins, that's more than just a good season. That would be a really, really good season. Borderline phenomenal season with that schedule in 2015. I think 9 wins, if they went 9-3 in the regular season in 2015, well, I'd be thrilled with that. I'd be really happy with a 9-3 season. I think 8 is. We should expect them to win 8. If they don't win 8, we should be disappointed with the 2015 schedule. Because you think about it, with their home schedule, I'd like to see them sweep at home. And I don't think there's any reason why they can't beat UConn, East Carolina, Cincinnati, Wagner, Fresno State at home, right? The only question you have at home is Boise State because they'll be really good again this year. And so you go, okay, well, so they've got to gut it up and they've got to win that game, and they go undefeated at home. That gives them 6 wins. And now you say, okay, with the rest of their away schedule, that means they go 2-3 to get to 9 wins. They go 3-2 to get to 10 wins. Can they scratch out 2 wins against Utah State, Missouri, Michigan, UCLA, and Nebraska? So that's what I base my 9. I think would be really good, and I'd be thrilled with it if they went 2-3 against those 5 schools. I think it'd be an amazing season if they went 3-2 against those schools and got to 10 wins. But I would expect them to win no less than 8 games, and anything less than 8, I would be really disappointed in 2015.
And that's exactly where I'm at as well. That's the kind of the minimum threshold. If BYU gets to 8, I'd say, hey, that was pretty good. Anything above that, I'd go, okay, really good season. You get to 10, you're going to finish as a top 20 team. That'd be a fantastic finish.
Exactly. And we like to throw this word around. Spencer's word we like to throw around is elite, right? And I just heard him say it a minute ago. I want to be really careful that we don't throw elite around when it's not warranted, right? If they were to win 11 games on this schedule would make them elite.
Oh, man.
11 games is elite. 10 is very, very good. And I would be really surprised with 10. And, boy, I'd be jumping for joy with 10. 11, I think we could call 11 with this schedule an elite team. Don't you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll even agree with that.
Blaine Fowler joining us from our New York City Bureau within BYU Sports Nation. Blaine,
is 11 elite?
I just said, yes, 11 is elite. I said just a moment ago, and I have said it a few times, so it's definitely on record now, Blaine. If Taysom Hill is healthy the entire season, BYU is going to win 10 games. I just think he's that much of a game changer. We saw it last year. He's now a senior. How plausible is it, in your mind, for BYU to win 10 games, given that Taysom remains healthy the entire season?
That's the absolute key. He's the most important player to keep healthy, and he makes a big difference. With him in there, then I go, oh yeah, if he's healthy and 100% in game 2, then they should beat Boise State at home, right?
Agreed.
He gives them a chance at Michigan. Michigan, brand new coach. I think Harbaugh's a really, really good coach, so I think they're going to be better than they were last year. But they weren't a great football team last year. They have athletes. It's only 4 games into the season. So those are games with Taysom Hill that you feel like you've got a shot at. You don't have Taysom Hill going into Michigan, all of a sudden it's a different story. You worry about that.
To me, the second key to the season, obviously Taysom Hill's health is one, is can the BYU defense do enough to put BYU in position to win the games? I don't think we expect this defense to be a top 25 defense, maybe by the end, who knows. But, Blaine, I guess I'm a little worried that BYU's running the same model as last year, which is in Taysom we trust. Hopefully the defense can play well enough to put us in position to win some games. It worries me a little bit. What do you think?
In spring ball, I saw fundamental change in the thought process back to what had brought BYU success defensively in years past. And so I like that mentality going in the fall, and that's this. They're going to keep everything in front of them. They're going to play guys that are where they're supposed to be. They're not going to worry. Listening to them talk this spring, it's just like, you know what? I don't care if the greatest athlete in the world is playing defensive back or linebacker. If that guy's not where he's supposed to be, he is not going to be on the field this fall. Because they had some really good athletes out on the field last year, maybe some of the best they've ever had. We talked about that secondary going into fall camp last year. And you remember on our AFR show, we were showing pretty simple defensive errors 11 games into the season where easy touchdowns were being given up, not because the guy was more athletic running by the guys, because they weren't where they were supposed to be. And so I saw real emphasis on that in the spring. And I think that we're going to see that in the fall, that return to, hey, if you're going to score against BYU, it's going to take 15 plays because you're not getting a big player over the top because they're not going to make a mistake. They're going to force you to throw underneath stuff. They're going to come up and smack you in the face. They're going to make you work to get scores. And most teams aren't disciplined enough to have 13 and 14 play drives multiple times a game. And we always heard Bronco in the past talk about, we just want to manage points. I'm not that concerned with yards and all that. Well, that's how they managed points in the past. They made it difficult for teams to score because they had to drive a long field to score. And so I think we'll see that mentality in the fall, and I think that BYU will manage points better, and I'm convinced that their offense is better. So that if they score more points and they manage points better defensively, that's a recipe for success this fall. You keep Taysom healthy, then it's absolutely not out of the question to win 10 games if those things all come together.
Blaine Fowler with us on BYU Sports Nation, joining us live from New York City. Blaine, when you look at next year's schedule, has BYU reached a point now with the difficult opponents they face that they are on par with Power 5 teams, and in particular the other Power 5 independent, Notre Dame?
Yeah, I think this schedule, I think next 2-3 year schedules, not only have they now been recognized by the ACC and the SEC as a Power 5 equivalent, their schedules bear that out. And the thing that I've been waiting for is for their home schedule to catch up. And it doesn't do it in 2015. It's a little bit better. But the home schedule in 2016, I mean, think about that, guys. You get UCLA at home. You get Mississippi State at home. You get Southern Miss at home in November. You get Utah State at home in November. That Mississippi State game is an October game. The big complaint is there's no fun games at home late enough in the season to matter. And you combine that with a neutral site game with Arizona and at Utah, at West Virginia in a neutral site game, and at Michigan State, and at Boise State and at Cincinnati. When you look at that 2016 schedule, and I'm scared to death about that schedule. I mean, you said it, Jeremy. You look at it and go, okay, I see 3 wins for sure. Other than that, this is going to be a stretch. But when you look at that, that's as big time a schedule and as good a home schedule as BYU's ever had. And so I think when we get to 2016, they become real big time because their home schedule reflects that.
And BYU's really got to bring it in the next couple of years. But it is exciting. The thing with BYU is there's a lot of program pride. Tom Homel's message 8 days ago was, we're not going to turn down these great opportunities to play one-offs at Michigan, at Nebraska. And so that's the challenge. So how does BYU in the next couple of years meet the challenge in making sure their teams are prepared to play these schedules?
Well, they've got to do a better job recruiting. They can't afford to lose, especially the LDS and in-state athletes, to any place else. Now, I think with this schedule, the way it's setting up, they can go out and competitively recruit. You can go, if you're recruiting head against Utah, you show the kids this schedule, and you say, look at the schedule. We're playing every bit as tough a schedule as Utah is. And, oh, by the way, you're going to be on national television on ESPN or ESPN2, how many times? 8, 9, 10 times a year. Your other game's going to be on BYUtv, which is an international network. Then you maybe have one on the U. You're going to get more national exposure here than you are at Utah or at Arizona or at Oregon State. You're going to play a schedule that's going to let you show your talents to the NFL scouts, and you're going to come to BYU and be in an environment they want to be in. I think the schedule helps them recruit over the next couple of years, and that's what they need. Which comes first? Well, they've got to be able to get the kids to have enough depth that when they get 6 or 7 games into the season and they have Mississippi State at home, having 1 or 2 injuries doesn't just sink them. And so that's the key. They've got to be deeper than they've ever been, which means over the next couple of years they've got to recruit better than they ever have.
Blaine Fowler joining us from New York City. Always good to talk to you, my friend. We certainly enjoyed the gun show picture last night as you were clutching onto your wife in Times Square. And
we can't let her go. I mean, people steal stuff in Times Square. You don't want them to steal your wife.
That was what I was getting
I don't care about my wallet. I just don't want one. I don't want anybody running off with my wife. I'm fine with my wallet.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
So, hey, how many beeps do we have today? I'm not even sure how many beeps.
One. So that was pretty good.
That was pretty clean.
0 beeps is elite. Yeah. 1's pretty good.
That was a 10-win type interview.
Sweet. I'm pumped about that.
Blaine, thanks for the time.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.